I'm your host, Rob Carbone. This is BD4.
Here's Barrett, some shake and bake, catch a three. Stands alive in the crowd. Barrett. Oh, hang on to the roof. Goodbye. Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down. Gotta put four fingers up when Torres comes to the plate. The wall. See ya. See ya. Out here, the pistol comes under. Got it. Yankees win.
Hey, is it normal, man, to drink a glass of milk just on its own? I texted my buddy. He's like, he called me a psychopath because I told him I was drinking milk. I think it's normal. I've done it my whole life. Nothing wrong with drinking milk. What's happening? Ep 263. Sorry, just adjusting the camera here for those watching. Ep 263 of the podcast. BD4 episode 263. Getting through it. We're in July, man. That's crazy. I think that's 3 years now that I've been podcasting. So 263 over 3 years. Episodes. It's like what? A little more than every other day or something like that. I don't know the math. But thank you for coming in. If you even are. Whoever's here. I am about to watch the NBA Finals Game 2. Game 1 was good, but obviously Phoenix they look good, man. And I think they're primed to win it all. I really do think. I think CP3 deserves it. I think it'd be nice to see Devin Booker get it. They said that this is the first NBA Finals since 1970 something where neither team has a player who has won a championship. I think just one player from both sides has been to a championship. That's Jay Crowder a couple of times. But nobody in this finals matchup has won a championship. But obviously Chris Paul is a veteran of the game. You know, who knows when he's going to retire soon. Has to be, you would think it's sometime soon. This is his last, I would think this is his last true opportunity to win a finals as this team. So I feel like it would just make perfect sense if the basketball gods scripted it so he won. It would make so much sense for him. I mean, he's been donned a leader his entire basketball career. You hear it all the time. You know, media, fans calling this guy the best leader in the NBA. And then the critics say, well, he's not a leader if he doesn't have a championship. How much of a leader can he be? But this would solidify it. You know, this would eliminate all that doubt. And I don't know why there is any doubt, but there is. Because this guy's he's a really good team-oriented point guard. His entire career has been based off the fact that he's a great point guard. He's the true definition. He's one of the last true point guards, you know, of that generation. And now you're seeing all these guys coming up and shooting lights out. They're all about shooting. Chris Paul was like a traditional point guard. He controlled the tempo. He played the mid-range game, and he was a pass-first guy despite being able to give you 20 points. So, the game just tipped off. So, Giannis is taking it up court. So I'm interested to see who wins. But I really think, if it continues to go the way that the postseason has gone so far in the NBA, I'm thinking the Suns are going to win it all. I'm going to go Phoenix in 6. I'll say Phoenix in 6. I hope it's no less than 6, because I do want it to be a competitive series. But we'll see. It's all going to be dependent on Giannis's health, and he just threw one down on the break. He took like 5 steps coast to coast because he's that long. He's a freak athlete. So it's going to be dependent on his health, obviously, with the Bucks. If he's not 100% or at least near 100%, I don't think the Bucks have a shot at winning this. They do have some nice complementary pieces. Chris Middleton has been good. Brook Lopez can be fun. They got PJ Tucker, who's that grit and grind type of player who plays defense and is physical. But the Suns, you just got to love them. D-Book, killing it. He can score from anywhere on the floor. Chris Paul has had a phenomenal postseason. But they've got guys around that. They've got Jay Crowder, who can play defense and hit threes. They've got Bridges, who's turned into a solid two-way wing. They've got guys like Dario Saric, who can hit the three. Campaign is playing well. How did I forget? DeAndre Ayton, who has been phenomenal all postseason long. His pick and roll game, they can't stop him. He's one of the better roll men in the game. I already said that. He's one of my favorite rollers. This guy's phenomenal when he's with Chris Paul in that 1-5 PNR. He's been eating, and they're giving him some touches for once. So he's had a great postseason. So they've got a good team, man. They play defense, and they're obviously very well executed offensively. So apologies if I keep looking up every once in a while because I'm watching the game, and I really want to see what happens. But yeah, man, that's the NBA. Obviously, this weekend we've got UFC 264 coming up, and I cannot wait for that. In fact, a little later in the episode, not sure when I'm going to put it in, but I will at one point. My buddy Mike and I had a conversation from a few hours ago today. Today, I mean Thursday, June 8th. Yeah, it's Thursday, Thursday, July 8th. That's when it is right now. I'm recording Thursday, July 8th. A few hours ago, before I started recording this, my buddy Mike and I had a good conversation for about a half hour about UFC 264. So we're going to put that into the episode somewhere, probably towards the end. So if you want to just fast forward to that, you can. Feel free. I don't care. I don't take offense to that because this pod is pretty boring as well. But it's going to be fun, though. It is going to be a fun event, man. I'm telling you, man, like ever since I tuned into this shit, I've fallen in love with it to a point where it's become my favorite thing to watch. It's my favorite sport to watch. And every pay-per-view event so far that I've seen since becoming a diehard last summer, every pay-per-view event has not disappointed. It has lived up to the hype. And they hype these things up. They market them to a point where like it's obnoxious to people if you're not a UFC guy. But if you actually take the time to watch this shit, you will appreciate the realness in it. And the fact that it's not just a sport, but it's a way of life. It's an important thing to know how to defend yourself. And these guys, man, they're so skilled and they're so talented. And I have the utmost respect for every one of them. But 264 is obviously going to be it's a stacked main card. Obviously the main event is huge. You've got Poirier McGregor, the trilogy. So it's the final time they'll be meeting, and it's 1-1, right? Conor took the one earlier in their careers, and then Dustin took the one last time out more recently. But this one's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people are expecting, I feel like at least a lot of people are expecting Dustin to win just because he seems like he's more hungry. Conor even admitted it with the whole fat cat comment today, that he's not as hungry as he used to be, but he's a different animal than he was at the same time, he said, paraphrasing. But, a lot of people are expecting Dustin to win, I feel like, but if it goes the distance, I think Dustin will take it. I think if Conor is to win, he has to get the knockout, and he has to do it early in one of the first 2 rounds. One thing I'm going to be looking at is his stance, and we talked a bit about this with Mike, but he looked very stiff when he was fighting Dustin the second time, his last time out. Conor he looked very upright, and the stance just didn't look loose. It looked very robotic. And if you go back to his fight against Cowboy 2 fights ago, the last fight he won, he was very loosey-goosey. He had that karate southpaw stance that he usually has. But the stance looked a bit different. He looked very tight. And that's one thing I'm going to look for out of the gate to see what Conor's going to do in terms of his stance. Let me just adjust this real quick. But he's obviously talking shit again. The whole humble Conor thing didn't last very long. He's talking shit. He put up that creepy sounding voice message on social media the other day. He's been saying a whole bunch of shit in interviews online, social media too. Just trying to get into Dustin's head, and he's getting MMA fans riled up, right? If you don't love the guy, you absolutely hate him, but that's what makes him who he is. He's going to get people to hate him and going to get those people that hate him to watch the fight so he makes his money, and he's made a career off of that. He's become a top 20 MMA fighter all time. That might be too harsh on him even because of that. So he's a champion. He's a legend of the game, like him or not. So, and I say this all the time when I talk about UFC. There's not a fighter in the sport that I dislike. Unlike any other sport, MLB, NBA, NFL, blah, blah, blah. There are guys who I like and don't like. Something about the MMA, because they're actually hitting each other. This is like real shit. I respect these guys so much. Like, there's no fighter that I'm going to talk shit on, because this is just, it's brutal, man. It's barbaric shit. And so I like just taking it all in, and I like appreciating each and every one of these guys. So whether, somebody might be Team Usman, one guy might be Team Covington. Like, I like both of those guys. I like every single guy. Somebody might be Team Conor in this instance. Somebody might be Team Dustin. I like both of these guys. I think Dustin's really fun too. But that's just my stance. Maybe it's just because I'm a newbie and I'm not exactly used to it, being only about a year into this thing as a fan. But I don't know. I just don't see that changing from my perspective. I feel like I'm just going to continue to enjoy this sport as it is. And I really have to get to one of these men. And even after the 264 card, there's some good fight. There's some good fight night cards. You got Miesha Tate. It's the following fight night card. She's fighting. She's coming back. And that's going to be fun because I haven't seen her fight yet. You hear all about her. She's one of the greats in women's MMA. And so I'm interested to see that. She's making the comeback against somebody who I don't know. Reina? Something like that? Reina? Roner? I don't know. Not going to bother wasting my time trying to figure out her name, but I really want to see that. And then there's obviously the 265 card, which isn't a great card, but at least it's Amanda Nunes, right? At least she's coming back, and she's probably going to win. Pena's is 15th in that division, and Amanda's obviously the champ. And at this point, she's got nothing to lose, so she's probably going to win that, bearing a shocker. And they got Derek Lewis fighting on that card. But Amanda's going to be... See, if she wins, as expected to, I know she'd have to change weight classes, but I really want to see the trilogy of her and Shevchenko. I think that would be something. And we talked about that with Mike in a little bit too, which we'll get to. But yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to be following. After that fight, I want to see where Amanda's career path goes, because she could easily just retire and hang it up. But she's so good and she's so fun to watch because she is a master at her craft. 14-12 Milwaukee, 6.5 minutes through the first quarter remaining. I don't know why I'm saying that, because as you're listening to this, the game's over. But that's going to be cool. But going back to the 264 card this Saturday, it's not just Conor Dustin. It's O'Malley's fighting on that card. He's fighting some dude I've never heard about, because the guy who he was originally supposed to fight, and I also forgot his freaking name, he's not fighting him anymore. Something happened. He got hurt or something. And Instead, he's fighting some other guy who's fairly new. He's got like 9 wins and 4 losses. Don't quote me on that. But, Sean O'Malley's always fun to watch. This guy's entertaining as well. Kind of McGregor-esque in that sense, where he's confident about himself and he's just going to talk a lot. And he's an interesting character. He looks pretty funny. He's got the whole hair thing going on with the Ecuadorian flag on his hair. I think that's what it is. I read that somewhere. But he's an interesting character, and he's a damn good fighter. I know he hasn't fought any ranked guys, so you have to, kind of put a grain of salt on it when you talk about him. But I do think he's a decent fighter. It would be nice for him to start fighting some ranked fighters. Let's before we start hyping ourselves up, Sean. With the whole undefeated thing. Yeah. So that's happening. Greg Hardy's fighting. I think I saw him once, but that's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously the former Dallas Cowboy turned MMA, so he's fighting somebody. I don't know who he's fighting. And then there's obviously the Burns Thompson co-main. So the co-main, that's one I'm really looking forward to, and I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on that. And that could go any way. Burns, obviously his last time out, he took a loss to Usman, who's the best, arguably, right alongside Izzy, the best in the sport right now. So that was a tough loss, but it's Burns was on a 6-fight win streak heading into that one, who, he beat some pretty decent names on that list too. I know he beat Woodley, and he beat a couple other decent names. So, listen, and then for Wonder Boy, obviously this is a guy who is favored in this, I think. I think if Wonder Boy keeps his distance and he kind of keeps it to where he's playing the longer range, he can take it. He's got a good takedown percentage. I think it's 78% takedowns. Because when they go for that kick, he'll just take you right down. And then obviously Burns is a good striker, and I think my buddy was telling me more about Burns because I don't know a ton about him, that he's pretty good grapple. So he's got a ground game. But that could go either way. I really don't know which direction that's going to go in. But I'm going to get my bets down soon on FanDuel, and that's not a sponsor, by the way. But that's coming up this Saturday, UFC 264. Very excited for it. Something I've been waiting for a long time since they announced that Poirier-McGregor trilogy. So it's going to be cool. Italy in the Euros. They've advanced to the finals. It's a shame, man, because I haven't gotten to watch any of these games yet by them because I've been working or just have been busy. They play in the middle of the day sometimes, but they've advanced. Not a big soccer guy unless it's like the World Cup or the Euros. But Italy is back, and Italy is always fun to watch play soccer, man. I remember the World Cup, both times, the last 2 times they were in the World Cup. I remember watching, the one with who was it? Was it France or Germany? I think it was France. The guy headbutted one of the guys who was playing for one of the dudes from France. I think it was France or Germany. It was the World Cup from I don't know, 2008 maybe, if I'm doing my math correctly. He headbutted a dude on Italy, and that was like a big thing. I remember going nuts about it. And then they won the World Cup that year, and my neighborhood is very Italian American oriented, and so we were all just going nuts, honking the horn. One of my neighbors, who's straight off the boat, I mean, this dude is legit off the boat. He was driving around. I remember we knocked at his door, rang his doorbell, kind of just talking to him about it. It was a fun day. We were riding around Summit with the Italian flag out the window, and really cool. So this is the Euro Cup, so this is not the World Cup, but definitely going to be trying to tune into that game. It's on Sunday, the finals. It's Italy and England on Sunday, so I'll be finally home for this. So I'm going to be tuning into it for sure. And go Italia, man. Forza Italia. Forza Italia. So that's going to be fun. 264, I'm expecting to be fun. NBA Finals is on right now. You know who's not fun? Who I haven't even brought up yet because I'm trying to avoid them, but this is what this podcast is about. The Yankees, they're not fun. They're not fun at all. The New York Yankees, who took another loss today after a couple in a row to start the road trip. 3 in a row if you date back to the Mets game Sunday night. Who cares? They're just so boring. And they had obviously they were in Seattle this weekend. So Yanks took 2 in Seattle. But those late 10 p.m. games, I don't know if I'm getting older because I'm starting to feel it more, but I think it's just because I've been working a lot lately. Maybe. But I'm dozing off during these things. I watched all 3 games, no problem. Obviously, the third one was a 4 p.m. game on the East Coast. But the 2 10 o'clock ones to start the series were brutal, man. But at least they won those 2. I don't know. This is such a boring team. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about them at all. So we're going to head to break. We're going to summarize the series. Game 1, we'll summarize it. 2 and 3. Talk about some things, maybe. And then that'll be that. I'm sorry. They just don't excite me, man. Like I'm telling you, this team just doesn't do it. They win a couple in a row, and you've got all these Yankees fans. All right, maybe we can start here. No, dude, this is what 500 teams do. They'll win some, they'll lose some. They'll win some, they'll lose some. And before you know it, you're playing that maybe we'll start here game in the middle of July. Like we are right now. So it's like, let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic here. The Yankees are, a team who's going to be hovering just about 500 all year. They'll finish with 80-something wins. 4th place, 3rd place, probably not good enough to make the playoffs because they have to play 700 ball from here to the rest of the year just to crack the second wild card. So it's not going to do it. They're going to be hovering around here all year, so they're going to be right on the brink and giving fans false hope. But let's be honest here. Make it or not, they're not going anywhere either way. This is not a World Series team. If you're fighting for a second wild card, you're fighting for one, you're fighting to make a second wild card, you're probably not going to be the World Series champions. And this is not like it's the 2019 Nationals. Like we talked about this really quickly in the last episode. That team was at least constructed with players who could hit, pitch, field, run. This team isn't constructed with those guys. It's built with a bunch of misfits, right? A bunch of injury-prone guys. And it just doesn't fit that mold like the Nationals team did. The Nationals had 300 hitters. They had guys with power. They had guys who could play defense, run, and they had a horse of a pitching staff. They had a bunch of horses in that staff. You had Scherzer, Strasburg. You had, who's the other kid? Corbin, obviously after that big contract in free agency, goes there and does well. And then you have guys like Sanchez rounding it off. So they had a good team. This Yankees team isn't a great team. So, different story. Let's get to break. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You're listening to episode 263 of BD4. If you haven't yet subscribed to this podcast, be sure to do that right now. You can listen to BD4 or you can watch BD4 on all the platforms that they're on. It's on. Jesus. The podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, many more listening platforms as well. Watch the podcast on YouTube if you're not doing so, and many more platforms to listen to it, like I just said 2 seconds ago. So listen to the podcast, watch the podcast. That's all on my Linktree, linktr.ee /RJCarbone. Let's head to break. When we get back, we will go over this series. Be right back.
You are listening to RJ Carbone on BD4. If you haven't yet subscribed to this podcast, you can do that right now. BD4 is available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and you can also watch it on YouTube. There are plenty of other platforms to find this podcast. All you have to do is go to linktr.ee/RJ Carbone, and that will take you to where you need to be. linktr.ee/RJ Carbone in order to subscribe to this podcast.
Game 1, the Yanks blew them out. It was a nice 12-1 victory against the Mariners. Jameson Taillon versus former Yankee prospect left-hander Justice Sheffield. Top of the first inning, DJ LeMahieu, a leadoff single to right center to start the game off. Gary later walks, and then you get the big 3-run blast by Stanton, taking advantage of that hanging meatball fastball right down the plate. Drills it 434 feet, just continuing to mash left-handed pitching. So 3-0 Yankees before you could look up in the first. Top of the second comes. LeCastro draws a walk. DJ singles to left. Judge reaches on a fielder's choice. Later steals second. Gary then walks in a run on the wild pitch. And then that's 4-0 Yankees. Stanton hit by a pitch, and then Voit with the 2-run single knocks Sheffield out of the game. Sheffield goes 1.2 innings pitched, 6 runs. Yankees take the 6-0 lead after 2 innings. Top of the third comes, they eventually take an 8-0 lead. Odor a leadoff walk. Miggy a single to left field. DJ an RBI single. That's 7-0. Then Judge, right after that, gets an it was an RBI double to bring home LeMahieu, 8-0. Top of the fifth, LeCastro single to lead off the frame. Judge also singles. Stanton walks. Voit, the infield single, brings in a run, 9-0. Top of the eighth, the Yankees again. Voit an RBI double. Gio a single. Odor homers. 12-1. So good victory there. Lineup has 12 runs on 18 hits, so a high in both categories on the season. They've got 5 walks, 8 strikeouts altogether, and here's one, 7 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Luke Voit, 5 for 6. Voit, Stanton, and Odor, all 3 of them had 3 RBIs. Gary drew 2 walks. So that was the lineup. Taillon pitched really well. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. He was quick and effective. He had a rhythm for a change. That's one of the things we don't love about Taillon, is that he's always pitching just out of rhythm. Never looks comfortable out there. It's always a drag. But this was actually fun to watch. He was pitching good. He had his nice fastball curve pitch mix working, and he was mixing in the slider and the changeup, so he had a 50% fastball clip and then 50% off speed in this game. He looked good, and it was good. You know, it would have been bad because the bullpen has been used so much lately. They're so taxed that if we got your typical Taillon game where he goes 4 in the third, 3 or 4 runs, and relies on the pen to get 15-plus outs, that would have been bad. But he saves the pen. We only have to go Peralta in the 8th, and then we get Chapman some work in the 9th so he can kind of get some confidence back. And he goes out there, and, man, he still looked kind of bad. He walks 2. He throws a wild pitch. He gives up a hit to load the bases. At one point, he loads the bases. Only throwing 13 strikes versus 11 balls, so he didn't have it. But he figured out a way to get out of it. He struck out 3, and he didn't allow a run in the end. So it was somewhat of a positive outing. But, man, he's a mess right now. But they win. They knock Sheffield around, and man, does Sheffield look bad. Nothing's working for him this year. Nothing was working for him last night or in game 1. The slider was kind of the only pitch that was working until it wasn't, because they started figuring out that was his only pitch. So that was the only thing he was going to. And then I think after the game, he went on the DL with a forearm injury. So that's unfortunate. But the Yankees do win, scoring 12 runs to 1 run. And that was that. That was game 1 of the series. Game 2. The Yankees took this one 5-4. You had Kikuchi for Seattle. By the way, try to say Kikuchi while sounding like a man at the same time. You can't do it. It's impossible. He goes up against, I guess Nick Nelson gets the start since Domingo had the root canal, came in later in the game. Weird scenario there. But top of the first, Yankee bats started off. Voit, the RBI single. Torres, 2 out, 2 RBI single. 3-0 Yankees. Top of the second, Judge goes yard, 5-1 Yankees, looking good. Sessa then pitches after Nelson goes 2/3 of an inning. You got Sessa after that for 3 1/3. He goes 3 1/3 shutout ball, just was in total control and did a pretty nice job considering he was in an emergency situation, right? With Herman scratched late, Nelson flopping and kind of getting hurt. Didn't look like he was in rhythm. Sessa's called upon to give them 3+, and he does a nice job. Domingo comes in after that. He wasn't great. Again, you got the E5 by Gio, which extended the inning, but then he gives up the homer to Murphy, and it's 5-4. But that was as far as it went. The Yankees did pick up the victory. They picked up the victory. Yanks go Lasagna and Green for the 8th and 9th, and that was that. Nelson again started on short notice. Guy's always starting on short notice. So that's one thing you can't blame him for when he has some rough outings. You have to take that into account, but boy, does he suck. Tim LeCastro, he comes to the Yankees, and he's quietly doing well. He was 2 for 4, had a couple of doubles. That hustle double, bringing some life for a change, some extra energy we don't see often. Kind of reminds me of Mike Talkman. I don't know what it is. But, hey, man, he's a gabagool. So, I got to be a fan of him. Tim LeCastro. Fast guy. Bringing some energy. Yankees have 5 runs on 10 hits, 3 walks, 8 Ks, 3 for 11 runners in scoring position. They were good. They had a nice approach against Kikuchi. Kuchi-ku. And they did what they were supposed to do. They took a win. Game 3, they lose again. So let's get to that real quickly. Sorry if I'm breezing through this again. I just don't want to talk about the Yankees. Game 3, the Yankees lose 4 runs to none. And boy, was this game just dead. I mean, they did nothing. They had 0 runs on 1 hit. 1 hit. So they were 1 hit away from getting no hit. 1 hit the entire game. It was Giancarlo Stanton. That was it. Outside of Giancarlo Stanton, the Yankees were 0 for 26. No walks either, so they weren't even reaching base. 0 walks, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts, 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, obviously. 1 double play hit into by Judge to end the game. Terrible offensively. Terrible. At least Montgomery pitched decent again. I mean, he pitches exactly how he does every game. He's decent every time. He's so-so. He goes 6 2/3, 3 runs, 9 strikeouts. Like he usually does, he has a rough start to the game. First couple of innings, he doesn't have it, but then he finds himself. And he did. So, that was that, but the Yankees still lost. Montgomery took the loss. 3-4 now on the season. Some post-game drama afterwards. Domingo goes... I'm sorry, not Domingo. Why did I say Domingo? What's the dude's... Graveman. Graveman? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. I don't watch the Mariners. He goes up and in on Odor in the 9th inning. And then he plunks DJ. Then he stares him down. A lot of guys didn't like that. Judge didn't like that. Judge hated that. LeMahieu didn't like it. He cursing him out after the game. So they, both teams kind of cleared the bench a little bit. Got into it a bit. No fights or anything, but just a bunch of jawing at each other. And that was as far as it went. In the Yanks lost, though, who cares? So that was that. I just... It's the same shit. This team sucks. So, at least Voit got hot. He hit... He had that 5 for 6, and he had a couple of hits the next game to start. So he was .583 batting average this series. Got the average from under the Mendoza all the way up to .248 at one point before the 0 for today. So he's been hitting. Judge had 2 hits in each of the first 2 games, and RBI in game 1. More RBIs in game 2 with the homer. Stanton goes 5 for 12. He had hits in all 3 games. He went yard in the first game. So, some good things offensively until the last game, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say here. Gary's coming back down to earth, as I expect. That's who Gary Sanchez is. He's not a great... He's not a consistent hitter. Well, I'll say he's not a great hitter. He's a good power-hitting catcher. If he's on. I don't even know. This is who he is. He's whatever. He's going to give you power and everything. Everybody's going to go nuts when he has these good streaks because it's going to pad his numbers to make it look like he's having a great season. But he'll have good stretches. But, whatever. He's hitting .218 now. The on-base is .331, so, mediocre shit. Last 11 games, he's 4 for 38. That's absolutely fucking dreadful. Hitting a .05. 1 home run, 3 RBIs. That's in his last 11. In his last 5 games, he has no hits in 19 at-bats. 0 runs driven in. So he's been sucking. Let's be real. He's a streaky hitter. He's going to have good moments, and he'll have a lot of bad moments. Brett Gardner continued to suck. Glaber had some moments, but he still sucks. DJ had some moments, but he's still having an underwhelming season. This whole team is having an underwhelming season. I'm tired of it. Let's head to break. That's it. I'm not talking about them anymore. I'm done. Until the next episode. Let's head to break. We'll get to the NYK question of the day. When we finish with that, we'll get right into the episode with Mike and I. Well, the segment of this episode with Mike and I. All right, so let's get to our first break. When we get back, question of the day.
You can follow me on Facebook at r.j.carbone. You can follow me on Instagram at rjcarbone. And you can follow me on Twitter at nysportstalkrc. And if you want to follow along with the blog that I write, subscribe to It's My Opinion on nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com.
All right. So, last time out, our NYK question of the day was on September 2nd, 2001, which Yankees pitcher had his perfect game bid ended with 2 outs in the 9th? So one last time. Last time out I asked you, on September 2nd, 2001, which Yankees pitcher had his perfect game bid ended with 2 outs in the 9th? The answer to that question, Mike Messina. And I want to give a shout out to one of my Twitter followers at NJ Swamp Thing, capital NJ, capital S, capital T. NJ Swamp Thing. Shout out to Felix, man, for the fucking right answer. He nailed it. He commented on the post, said Mike Messina, and he was right. Mike Messina is the answer. So thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you for answering, man. Thank you for being the only one, you and a select few, who actually make it this far in the episode. I appreciate that. So Mike Messina, the answer to 262. For episode 263 tonight, our NYK question of the day. In 1984, Don Mattingly won the American League batting title, but the runner-up was also a Yankee. Who was the runner-up? All right, so one last time. In 1984, Don Mattingly won the American League batting title, with the runner-up also being a Yankee. Who was the runner-up? So message me the answer on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Or comment the answer once I publish one of the promos to this podcast. And that'll be that. I'll give you a shout out if you get the correct answer. If you don't, I'll ban you from the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, subscribe to BD4, download it, listen to it, watch it, share it, and all that fun stuff. Let's get to the second part of this episode, where Mike and I have a conversation about the upcoming UFC 264. Let's get to that right now. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, guys. Ciao. They don't pay me enough. Because I only get like 100 listeners per episode.
Right.
Maybe 200. And they pay you by the cent.
Oh my goodness.
Cent per listener. So you have to be big to make anything.
Have you tried like doing those like paid sponsorship?
Yeah, I
where
emailed a couple ones. I'm waiting to hear back, but I don't know.
Heck, if you could somehow get like your logo, like get in with
Yeah.
New York, like either the Giants or Yankees or somebody, and even get just a banner with your logo
Yeah.
on in the field somewhere, like that would you'd probably take off, man.
For real.
I mean, well, talk to coach and see if he can pull some strings, get your logo somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to, but I don't really see. I don't like give a shit if I'm big. I just
but it
do it for fun.
Yeah, but I mean, it would open up doors to other stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Right now, I'm doing fucking like my job is
Because you can go into like
landscaping and construction right now on some fucking pain
yes,
in the ass.
yeah.
In this
I've
weather,
done it.
so hot.
Yeah, so you could go in like as a press reporter or something in these games and like actually, you know.
I will be fucking the only conservative fucking reporter out there.
Yeah, you'd be like, they treat you like they did old, what's his face, the Knicks, Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
They'd take you out of there.
Uh-huh. Hold on.
Have a cup of coffee. Cigarette.
Cigarette.
Is that an Apple?
What?
Is that an Apple phone?
Yeah. I really want a Samsung again. Those are really good. Mike, I'm not I don't give a fuck.
Liberal.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about what phone I have.
Damn New York liberal.
And I drank a Coca-Cola the other day.
You're too white for that,
yell at me
man.
for that?
What the fuck? Calm it down. You're too
Who
white.
gives a shit?
Shit. You gotta at least drink a Coke Zero.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
Thunder.
That was thunder?
Yeah.
That was a mouse in your attic.
Yo, it's loud.
Well, we might lose connection, but you know.
I lost power a couple minutes before I started this up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Let's fucking just talk because I don't want to fucking waste time. 264 Saturday, Mike.
It's gonna be good.
No, but so you're a Conor guy. Do you see? Okay, so I post a lot of Conor shit on Facebook. Do you ever see my triggered uncle always commenting in the response section? Every
Yeah,
time I
I
post
see.
something about Conor, my uncle gets so triggered, he has to just type some soliloquy. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I've seen a few things he
It's
said.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with Connor, either you hate him or you love him. So he's one of those.
Dude, I love his whole shtick.
Yeah,
He does it for
works
that reason, dude.
Yep.
People hate him, and so they pay to watch him lose because they want to see him lose.
Yeah, and it makes him money. So
It makes him bank.
Dude, he's as far as a marketing business standpoint, he's genius.
Yeah,
I mean, he's genius.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's good at getting into your head.
Yep.
Like he just said the thing about Dustin only having 13 knockouts.
Yeah.
And he only counts
knockouts.
Yeah. So he's trying, and he did you see the thing the other day when he posted that creepy ass voice message online? Dustin,
what do you call him? A pea brain?
I'm coming for you, pea brain. Yeah. That was great.
It was so creepy.
It was very creepy.
Yeah, and then he said he said something else.
I know he just said coming for you, pea head, and then something else.
Yeah, and he called himself a fat cat. He said I was a dog.
Fat cat. Because he's different than what he was when he was younger.
Yeah. Which I mean, normally if you think of a fat cat, you're thinking, they don't care. Yeah, it was a weird analogy, but I mean, I'd say he's in for his head for sure.
Conor usually does good in rematches.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not crazy to expect him to win. I just worried, like last time I was watching him when he fought Dustin the last time in the second fight, his stance looked very stiff as opposed to his fight before that with Cowboy.
He was looser.
He looked stiff, and it just didn't look the same. He wasn't as loose as he was with Cowboy. So I'm interested to see out of the gate how he kind of, because he usually does that karate shit.
Yeah, he has his hands out.
Yeah.
We'll see with the rematch with Nate Diaz, he lost it too.
Yeah.
So that makes you kind of wonder how he'll come out on this fight versus I mean, if he loses this fight, man, he might as well just kiss his legacy goodbye.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yep.
He'll be a has-been. He won't be.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling if he loses this fight, I think this will be the last fight if he loses it. He might have one more, but I bet it'll be the last.
He'll retire for good.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate because he's really fun for the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah, you can hate him all you want, but if you have to admit he's big for the sport.
Oh yeah, and he's still a good fighter. Like he should still be feared. I think he's let fame get to his head a little more than he should have. And I think that's the reason why he's been on a losing streak is he's just not – he doesn't care. He's not putting 100% into it.
No, he said he's not as hungry as he once was.
Right. And so I think that's the problem. If he had stayed hungry the last 3 or 4 years, the dude would have been unstoppable. Well,
yeah.
Until you hit Usman. I mean, Usman, I don't think anybody – he's a brick shit house, man. There ain't nobody going to beat him. But I think he'd be right under Usman for sure.
Usman's fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, he's huge. He's way too big for that weight class.
Yeah.
We'll just look from that. Looking at him, obviously he's not weight-wise, but the dude, there's no fat on him at all. He's all muscle.
No, dude. It's literally there's no body fat. Nothing there.
No, and the rest of those guys in that division they're slim and they've got a little bit of muscle, but they're not like. I think Usman and Covington are probably the biggest guys in that division.
Yeah.
Covington's pretty big too. Well,
I would love to see them go up and rematch against each other.
Gilbert Burns, isn't he in that division?
Gilbert, his last fight he lost to Usman. Remember?
Yeah. And
that was when he was on a 6-fight win streak.
Yeah, and he's big.
Yeah.
For that division.
Yeah, he is big for it. But
and what's funny is you go up a division,
right,
a weight class, and you got Izzy that is small. It looks like he's small for that division.
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well,
crazy.
Izzy had to fight friggin' that Polish motherfucker.
Yeah,
Big ass
John
Polish dude.
Blachowicz or whatever.
He was so much larger than him.
Yeah.
But Izzy's a guy who's just long, lanky, and he's athletic.
Yeah,
he's quick
and unorthodox. He's
another
unorthodox.
top guy. Like the top guys in the sport of all like classes, you got to put him up there with Usman.
Oh yeah,
as like
John
the best
Jones.
Right now. Currently you even. But yeah, John Jones. Is Jones coming back, or is Dana not paying him? Or
no, he's coming back. I think he's moved up to heavyweight. I think they're trying to get him his first fight back. I think they're trying to make it a title fight.
I need to see him.
Yeah, me too, because that was my favorite fighter before Conor.
Yeah,
I like John Jones.
You told me about his. I looked up his whole history with DC. That's great.
Yeah, dude, DC retired. Like it's Jones come back, and then DC retired. I think he's running scared from him. Because I think he knew that Jones would just annihilate him. Honestly.
Yeah, it sucks, but DC was good. Like.
Yeah,
he was a good fighter, but
he was good, but only because his ground game. He didn't impress me on the feet.
I like DC. I like where he's got a good spot in the booth though right now. I think his days are obviously supposed to be. I mean, after that last fight, it was it for him.
He's done.
He's certainly done. But going back to what was I gonna say? Burns. So his last fight was to Usman. That stopped that 6-fight streak that he was on.
Yeah.
He beat some good fighters over that span, but do you think he beats Thompson? That one's I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, man. Wonder Boy is like
a lot of people are putting their money on Wonder Boy though.
I'm telling you, he's powerful. You won't look at him and think, oh, this dude is a power puncher.
Right.
But he's got some power. And he's lanky too. His kicks are something that I think Burns should be scared of. I think that would be what would catch him is his kicks.
Yeah.
He's decent on the ground. I think Burns would have that advantage on the ground. But I think as far as standing up, Wonder Boy, man, he's got a chin on him. He's got a chin, and that's what's going to help him.
He's very good at maintaining distance.
Yeah.
And then getting the takedown. If the other guy's throwing a kick, he's very good at taking you down. That's one thing I noticed. Yeah. So if he can control the pace to it, I think it goes to him. But Burns is a powerful dude. And like you said, Burns is pretty good on the ground. So I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't know. It could go either way to me.
Yeah. I think if Burns gasses out, he's in trouble. I know that. Yeah. I mean, because I think Wonder Boy would have better cardio. But I think I don't know. I think that might be the fight of the night.
The co-main.
I'm gonna go ahead and make that prediction. That might be the fight of the night.
All right, Mike. Yeah. Write that down.
Yeah. I think that has a potential of being a back and forth. I don't know, man. I mean, there's so many good fights on that card. It's hard to pick a fight of the night because Poirier and McGregor, that could. I mean, we know they're going to scrap, but we don't know how long.
That's going to be key to me, dude.
Yeah.
If it's short, it's going to be Conor knocking him out. If it's long, I feel like it could be Dustin. Yeah,
I mean, it could go either way. So I'm not going to make a prediction for fight of the night for that fight. I think the ending will be good.
Right.
I don't think it'll go to decision, but I think that the Burns Thompson fight, I think that's going to be potentially a fight of the night. Sean O'Malley would have been one of my picks, but he's fighting a no-name dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know anything about this guy that has now stepped up?
Huh. No, I'd say he's probably off the street or from the arena somewhere. I don't know anything about him. I'm not assuming that he's going to be in any kind of match. O'Malley's good.
Yeah,
he's good. So I think he'll mop the floor with that dude. I think And it's funny because there's some fighters, and McGregor was in this class at one point, but I think there's some fighters that Dana White kind of caters to as far as giving them matches that are easy, helping them get to the top, and then once they get to the top, they hit like second or third ranked, and then they don't go nowhere. And I think O'Malley's going to be one of those.
He hasn't fought a ranked guy, I don't believe.
No,
I think everybody's fought was unranked.
I mean, he'll have to eventually, but I think he's been given an easy road, and I don't see him. He's fun to watch. He's good, but the reason he's good is because he hasn't fought anybody worth a crap. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. But
no, that's been the general consensus on him too. No, you're right.
Yeah,
that he's not fought the toughest competition, unlike Burns, we were just talking about. But so there's that. There's the co-main, and then the main. I think the Greg Hardy fight is also on the main card.
Yep. Yeah, I can't remember who he's fighting though.
Let me look it up real quick.
I cannot remember.
Here it is. Ty something. Tovasa?
Okay, yeah, I've seen him fight a couple.
12-3.
He's decent.
Sounds Hawaiian or something.
Yeah, he's decent, man. He's got a good hand too. He's pretty powerful.
Okay.
We all know Greg Hardy doesn't have a chin. He's got a chin made of glass. So
yes.
If that dude can catch Greg Hardy on the chin a couple good times, I think he could go down.
The Greg Hardy's the dude from the Cowboys, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a defensive lineman.
I haven't seen him. I think I've seen him fight on a fight night card once a long time ago, but I don't remember much about how he is.
He's decent. I mean, he's more of a grappler, and he's not really. I wouldn't say a striker. It would be him. He'll stand and strike some, but he wants to get it to the ground. He likes to wrestle. He likes to grapple against the fence. He'll throw some punches, but if he starts getting rocked with some, he wants to take it to the ground immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
when was the last time he fought?
It's not been too long ago, maybe
October?
A couple months. No, it's been sooner than that. He just fought like 2 or 3 months ago, pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
He lost.
Let me pull it up. Oh, I'll pull it up right here. December 19th.
Oh, was it December?
He lost December. He lost against Marcin.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Yeah. It says.
I didn't realize it'd been that long. Wow.
Yeah, TKO punches. Yep.
Oh yeah, he got knocked out.
Okay. Yep.
Like I said, I mean, his chin's glass, but I mean, he's a beast. He's kind of like a Derek Lewis Usman clone or something. But
oh yes.
Yeah, but he's
Derek Lewis coming back? Isn't he on? He's on one of the. Oh, he's on the Amanda card that's coming up in the summer. Later in the summer.
Yeah, I think he's there. He said I thought he was going to get the title fight.
Yeah.
But they were talking about it's either going to be him or Jones. Which I like both of them, man. I think Jones should. I think Derek Lewis should get the title fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Jones should have who's the second contender in the heavyweights?
I have no idea. Honestly.
Gosh,
let me look it up. How do I even?
I can't remember, but I think that that person.
Yeah.
Because Volkanovski, that's the title, the champion in that division, I think.
Yeah.
So Derek Lewis should get him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jones should get the second or third ranked contender, and then if he wins that fight, then give him a title fight. That's what I think.
Yeah. So the heavyweight, Francis is obviously number one.
Ngannou. That's right.
He's the champion, and then you got Stipe is number one, and then Derek Lewis is two.
So who's number three?
Three is it's Gain. Volkov is 5.
Okay, so Cyril Gain is
is 3.
That'd be a good entry for John Jones to kind of get the rust off and get back into it. And you wouldn't piss off a lot of people because he's coming back in and getting an immediate title fight. I mean, even though he did hold it when he left, but I think that would be a good fight to make would be Jones and Gane.
Yeah.
And then give Derek Lewis the title fight, and then let Jones fight whoever that winner is. If he wins, Gone. If he beats Gone.
Yeah, I think. Jesus Christ, where is it? I'm trying to pull it up here. So I wanted to bring up the Amanda card. She's fighting that chick. I don't even know who she is. She's 15th in that class. Pena.
Amanda Nunes is fighting somebody 15th.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she'll win.
So that's going to be an easy win for her.
Yeah.
But I really want to see her go up against Shevchenko.
Yes.
Again.
That woman is beast, man.
Fuck. Yeah.
That woman is beast.
For a trilogy. That would be the third time, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, she just Shevchenko just beat her.
Yeah.
That'd be a good fight.
Shevchenko beat who?
Nunes.
She did?
I'm pretty sure, didn't she?
I don't think she did. No, I don't think Nunes has a loss. Amanda?
Who did she just?
Oh, she beat somebody. Her last fight, she won, but it wasn't Amanda. It was somebody else.
Or was that Watterson? Maybe.
Could have been.
I can't remember what I ate for dinner yesterday. I ain't gonna remember that.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm having a hard time over here thinking back that far.
Yeah, I can't do it. Let me see if Leo's coming in. If not, we'll just end it because covered everything. Let's see if he wants to come in. I'll cut out whatever I need to from here. We'll pause this.
All the awkwardness. Staring.
But yeah.
That thunder go away? It's still storming there.
Yes.
Still storming?
No, it's gone.
Good. I can't stand storms, man.
You scared?
No, it's just I don't because you have no control if they like lightning strikes a tree.
I'm terrified of do you ever get tornadoes down there?
No, not really. We've had one or two come through here, before, but we don't really get them. I mean, as far as weather goes, man, I'm in a pretty good area for weather. I mean, it's not that bad here.
Anthony said, in Virginia, you're in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Anthony's in Virginia, and he said he gets tornadoes every once in a while, but
yeah, they're more susceptible to them there. They're more in the valley. There's more valleys and mountains. I mean, there's mountains here, but there was one that went through Marion a while back. When it didn't come through here, but it went straight through Marion across the interstate. It was crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think Anthony only lives 2 or 3 hours from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm right on that line.
That's crazy. I can't do tornadoes. Hurricanes I don't like either.
All
right, Mike. We'll end it.
All right, bro.
Fuck, everybody bails on me.
Well, when Anthony's ready to actually, do something.
We'll do it again with him.
Holler at me. Yeah, for sure.
Let me make sure.
We could even do something, a couple days after or day after the fight and kind of do a recap or something.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right.
It's pay-per-view, so I've got to be able to see the damn thing, get through all the red tape and the legal streaming, but,
Yeah, don't say that on here. Dana's going to come after you.
Oops, sorry, Mr. Daney.
All right, Mike.
All right, buddy.
This episode is brought to you by Anchor, podcasting made easy.